This is Will Montgomery, former Washington Redskins center.
Yo, what's good, folks? This is Trey Johnson, the headbanger, yo, and you're listening to Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted. Word.
What's going on, Rally? How you been, man?
Yo, Ted, man, you brought something to light that, this is the second week that we're going into that our listeners haven't heard from us, or a week, shall I say, that our listeners haven't heard from us. And so I've been doing all right, just busy as heck, man, just busy. But, I guess being busy means that you're alive. So it's all good. How have you been, bro?
I've been good, man. I used to say I'd rather be busy than bored. I take that back. I mean, granted, last week, I know we didn't do a show. There wasn't really a lot going on other than some stuff we'll catch up on now. But I had 2 Caps games last week and then went out to Nationals opening day and had a blast out there. Ran into a couple of our listeners hanging out there in front of the Green Turtle where B. Mitch and Finley were broadcasting from 106.7 The Fan. A couple of people walked up, told me they loved the show. And speaking of which, I wanted to read a review that we got here on Apple Podcasts. So This is from Rob the Builder 15. Rob put up, great fans perspective. Always love to hear from Tailgate Ted and Rally Cap. It's great to not only stay updated on Commanders news, but to also hear from some of the most recognizable Commanders fan and listen to their opinions of team-related activities. We'll continue to listen for a long time, left hand up. So
appreciate it.
Definitely, man. Appreciate Rob. We sent a tweet out there asking listeners to leave some likes, leave some reviews. Rob was one of them. For those of you out there listening to this now, do us a favor. Hit like, hit subscribe. If you're on a platform where you can rate the show, really appreciate that. Please do. Just takes a couple of seconds there, and we'll be happy to read them on the show. But, man, people are listening because hanging out at opening day, if I had a beer for every person, drank a beer for everyone that offered to get me one that was listening, I don't think it would have actually made it into the ball game because there were a lot of people walking around, and it was fun to see, man. It really was. So what have you been up to, man, over the past couple of days or past couple of weeks?
Well, so a lot of people don't know, but and I guess this is my time to share. Everyone always asks me, hey, man, how can you afford to go to all these games? Well, I grind in the off season. And so, between working a lot to be able to afford the toys that I have, as well as trips that I like to take, as well as football, hey, man, a brother's behind the scenes just grinding. And so that's what I've been doing. And I've been trying to get myself prepared for the Century ride that we got coming up. And the date is fastly approaching. And so, one thing that I am not going to do is get out there without riding my bicycle and then fall flat on my face. 100 miles is a lot on a bicycle.
It is, man. I don't know how you're doing that. Granted, you've been training for this, so what you're getting into, and you do this all the time. I've seen the videos of you and the bike and the simulators and all that stuff. So, hats off to you, more power to you. That's just not for me. There's a zero chance you'd ever see me. 20 miles on a bike, fine. 100 miles, no way.
Yeah. I have a 50-mile ride coming up on the 22nd in Calvert County. I've never been down there before. I've heard of Calvert County, but I've never been down there before. So I'm looking forward to riding down there. It's for a good cause. It's for the homeless. And I'm really looking forward to donating my time and my sweat. Hopefully no blood, but sweat and tears.
There you go, man. Well, you might have to send a video of you riding to Martin Mayhew, because he did a press conference at the league owners meetings and was talking about players and position. And it's obviously everyone's getting ready for the draft right now. And there's a lot of people coming in to talk to the team, a couple guys coming in to interview with the coaching staff. But what I took out of Martin Mayhew's meetings with the reporters 2 weeks ago was basically the team isn't going after Lamar Jackson. We've said it here on the podcast before. it's not happening. And Martin Mayhew came out and said, it's not happening. Now, Ron Rivera also was asked, because he did some meetings last week at the owners' meetings about Lamar Jackson, and Ron said that's not going to happen. But one of the questions a reporter asked him was, if new ownership does come in, then will you reevaluate quarterback? And he said, yeah, we basically are going to have to. I'm paraphrasing. But, at this point, they didn't want to go for Lamar because of the money that they'd have to pay him and the people they'd have to cut and get rid of. So if you guys haven't had a chance to listen to Ron's presser, it was about 30 minutes. It's out there. You can easily find it. It's on the Commander's YouTube channel. But I've got a couple of clips from it. And one clip that was kind of frustrating to hear. I'm not sure if you've heard this one yet, but one clip that was kind of frustrating to hear. I'm not going to steal his thunder. This was Ron talking about roster building.
Impact those dynamic playmakers, that front that you're trying to build. I mean, we are roster building, I think, for the first time, and feel really good about being able to do the things that we're doing right now.
Did you ever get...
So we're roster building for the first time. I was angry when I heard this clip. How did you feel?
That makes no sense. I mean, it makes no sense. And I think what's happening is he's been put on the spot and he's trying to formulate an answer. And there's a part of me that understands what he's trying to say, but it didn't come out well. And we know that, so I guess day one that you got here, you weren't building the roster. I mean, I understand. I think what he was trying to say is we're trying to we have more pieces in play than we've ever had at key positions. I would think that would be the better answer to roster building.
It's not even building. It's for the first time part. He came in here with complete control. He is in charge of this roster up and down. Yeah, he's got Eminem, Marty and Martin that are helping him evaluate while he's doing other stuff. But to say you're roster building for the first time is just dumbfounding. And if I am one of the new potential owners and someone plays me that clip, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell has this guy been doing the past 4 seasons other than not winning or not having a winning season?
Yeah, because right now they're looking over everything about him with a fine-tooth comb. And like you said, if I was an owner, I would put a little note to the side and then say, all right, what do you mean by this?
I mean, I hear it. It's like I listen to clips and go throughout the week before we do a show. And just in general, I'll send myself text messages. So I know, let's bring this up on the show, get this for the rundown. If I'm one of the new potential owners, I am assigning someone to follow this team and follow the coaching staff and follow what they do in the draft. So we're not having to get caught up when we do take over. We already have been involved along the way, just kind of in the background, and we understand what they just recently did. And another thing that came out was the sale of the team is somewhat slowing down what else they want to do during this free agent time period. I mean, they've spent a ton of money, not to rehash old shows, but they're just under $3 million on the salary cap. So Ron was asked, does that hurt you guys? And he said, no, we can make room if we need to make room. That's not a problem at all. But the fact that we are now just starting to roster build, I thought was very interesting. And Pete Haley from the Beltway Football Podcast and NBC Sports Washington actually talked to Ron about this yesterday. And for those wondering, it's Wednesday, April 5th. Ron Rivera was honored outside, I think it was a World War II memorial in downtown DC yesterday.
World War I, I believe.
Okay, World War I. And he did a kind of, I don't want to say impromptu, but he did a media scrum with a bunch of the guys out there. This is a clip of Pete asking Ron a question about that roster building comment.
You had the comment with these guys last week at owner meetings about this is your first offseason of true roster building.
Right.
What would you describe the first couple seasons as, or what got in the way of the true roster build?
The roster build is you're building around a quarterback situation that you feel pretty good about, but also it's a rookie quarterback salary that you're working around more so than anything else. And so with that, we were able to make some money, spread it, make some money just last and be able to spread it around to more than one or two guys. We felt like, we may not have been going for the upper echelon guys, but we were at a pretty good tier, and we're pretty excited about those guys. We really are. And that's what made it exciting, is that, we were able to do that. When you try to work around a quarterback situation where you're trying to find that guy, you spend a little bit more than you really want to, and you put yourself in that position where you can't just go out and say, hey, we like this tackle and we like this guard and that center, we like this linebacker. Now we were able to do that, and that's what I meant by it, is that when you're dealing off of and somebody, I don't know, somebody put it out there that they showed what it is like with these two quarterbacks in terms of what our total expenditure is for this season. I mean, that's a good number for us to be able to work around. That's what I meant by that.
So he's trying to change what he said, because I think it got him in hot water with the media around town and the fan base. And if you guys are like me and Riley, you listen to sports talk radio, and everyone's been playing the clip. But talking about, we finally have, and let me go back and see what it was, basically building around a quarterback that we feel pretty good about. This will be Ron's fourth season as the Washington head coach. It will be his fourth different starting quarterback. Right. Okay. So year one, he inherited a quarterback from the previous regime.
Yeah.
Year two, he brought in Ryan Fitzpatrick. Right? Fitz was getting paid $10 million. Okay. Year three, they brought in Carson Wentz. We all know who's getting $27 million.
Huge.
Right. On top of that, they traded for Carson and ate some of his salary that the Colts were willing to just dump and get rid of, because they couldn't trade for a quarterback that actually, they couldn't sign a quarterback that actually wanted to come here. They had to trade for someone that had no choice where they landed. So you're building your roster by bringing in this guy that you felt pretty good about. Remember, he saw the tape, he looked at the freaking analytics, he blew his top on it. And then now they brought in Jacoby Brissett. Brissett is going to be competing for the spot with Sam Howell, but they like where they are from a salary situation, because they can peanut butter spread it around, because they're not investing $27 million in a quarterback like they did with Wentz. But Brissett's making 7.5 mil, right? Well, Fitzpatrick was only making 10. What were you doing then? What were you doing with the salary that you had at that point in time, or with the roster that you were building, knowing that Fitzpatrick wasn't costing you a ton of money? That's the part that frustrates me with Rivera's comments, trying to say, well, now we've got a rookie quarterback in Sam Howell, who's not a rookie, but you know what I mean. He's on his rookie deal, not making a ton of money. And you got Brissett coming in here that's not making a ton of money. Well, you had Fitzpatrick 2 years ago that wasn't making a ton of money. And obviously he got injured, but from a roster perspective, you're saying this is the first time you're ever building. Well, what the hell were you doing 2 years ago when you were saving money at quarterback, where most playoff teams are spending in the high 20s, if not 30 or more $million? I don't get it, man.
Sounds like he was robbing Peter to pay Paul, to be honest with you. That's what it sounds like, because the money went to other things. And one thing that we do know is the organization supposedly is cash strapped. So with all the things that the repairs for the stadium, the stuff with DS, I mean, they always talk about that. So now you've got to go rock bottom low, because you just paid Duran, even though I know that Duran his money isn't coming in until
9 million. Yeah, it's 9 million this
afterwards.
season. Yeah.
Yeah, afterwards. But you've got to be able to bring guys in. So basically, are we going to be doing a lot in the draft?
I think so.
What we're going to be?
I think
we're going to have to
do that. Yeah.
We're going to have to, because as he puts it, the money aspect of things is, you're looking at Sam on a rookie deal, Kobe, Brissett, that's not a lot of money. But one thing that bothers me is that tells you that they really thought that Carson was the guy. They really did, to pay him that much money, because it almost feels like they thought that we were a quarterback away. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And we weren't a quarterback away.
We're still not a quarterback away.
No. But, and I know that this is a moot point, but it's something that a lot of people don't understand, or get frustrated, not understand, but they get frustrated with when you say you don't want Lamar, because Lamar would take us from hypothetically a 2 to an 8 out of 10, if you will. And I know that they're not going to do that unless the new owner says, yes, you will, if he's available. I mean, so
technically, I guess from a salary cap perspective, we talked about it, they don't have any room on the cap, right? So you can't just start cutting players to bring in a Lamar who turned down $175 million guaranteed. Yes, they could structure his contract like the Browns did with Deshaun Watson, where it's a small cap number this year and it not really affect the Browns because he was suspended. He wasn't really doing a ton. So when I say they can't, that's not true. They can, but the damage it would cause to the quote unquote roster building they're doing now would be somewhat irreparable. But they don't have the ability to make that decision right now because we're in ownership limbo. I mean, we've been in limbo for a while. And something we talked about because of an article that we read from The Athletic, that Dan Snyder kicked the signing bonuses for some of its players' contracts, like Jerron Payne's contract and some of the other guys who just signed, to May 12th. We were hoping that was going to be a sign that the sale was going to potentially be done then.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that during the league meetings, Rivera said this is something that they also did when he was with the Panthers, that it's not uncommon for NFL teams to move that out and then have it hit later on. So all of our hopes that this was going to be done in May, let's not hold May 12th as a date at that point in time. Maybe let's hold May 22nd, the owners' meetings, as a point where we think this thing might end. It's just, we had 8 wins last year. How many wins do you think Lamar would get us on his own? Me personally, I think on his own, he could get us another 4 on top of that 8 if they were to bring him here.
I was going to say 12. Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. And that would be a lot better than what we've had for these last couple of years. So it would almost be it would almost be a worthy investment. But it reminded me of the RG3 trade deal that we got, what was it, 6 first rounds or something like that. I mean, it was some astronomical amount that we had to give up in order to move up to get RG. And realistically, with new owners, the repairs to the stadium, everything that's involved, hypothetically, would you want to go poor to have maybe a winning season? And I think that when you would want to do that. 2012
again to potentially have that happen. I mean, that was, lightning in a bottle. It was great. But let's be honest on my side, I don't want Lamar Jackson here because I don't want us to do and go to all of that trouble for a quarterback of his stature that likes to run and has a guaranteed contract that he wants that could potentially get injured on any given play. And next thing you know, that wholly guaranteed contract just screws us over for years to come.
Years to come. Well, like I was saying, like the RG3 trade up that we did. I mean,
three first round picks.
It was three
and
first round picks.
A second round.
Yeah.
That we gave up for him.
That hurt us, and we're still pulling ourselves out of it because of it. I think that we've done a lot of good things to be able to circumvent that, but here we are. And like you said, but you just said that you would do it though. I don't think that you want to do it.
No,
I thought you said you would do it.
No. I don't want Lamar to come here just based upon how we won't be able to afford to pay other guys. And because of the fact that he's been hurt for 2 seasons and, like it or not, whether you believe it or not, did he quit on his team in the playoffs? Did he not want to play because of the contract situation? I don't want him here and I don't think it's going to happen. And thankfully, Martin said it's not going to happen. If new ownership comes in and says, hey, I want you to do what you can to go after this guy, then you know what? We got no control over it. So be it. But opinion wise, no, I don't think it's the right move at all. Okay. I'm good with Sam.
Gotcha. Well, if he came, we'd be fans. And
I'm not buying his jersey.
No, I don't buy players' jerseys anymore. I just don't do that. Bobby Three Sticks was the last true quarterback jersey that I bought. I take that back. I bought a Colt McCoy jersey.
There you go.
I did buy a Colt McCoy jersey. So, but he was the last one. So
last quarterback one I got was Robert. It was upsetting. I don't know why I have that thing, but I didn't actually get your thoughts on Robert's comment about him potentially coming here and being part of the ownership group with the Harris bid. Did you hear him talk about how he wanted to be or is talking to Josh Harris on the Rich Eisen show about potentially joining the ownership group?
I did hear that. And I'll just say that thank God I'm in the travel business and not contract business, because I would screw that all up. But the way I look at with the whole RG3 thing is he probably did have a conversation or some type of conversation. And in his mind, hey, I'm right there with you guys. But I really don't think that it was as in depth as possibly he may have wanted it to be. I could be wrong. So before I step on myself, I'll say that if he did, hey, more power to you, Robert. And if you didn't, you may have overstepped your boundaries in the conversation that you had. The only other person that I've heard about the team from a sports person's voice is Magic Johnson. He's the only other person. He's the only other person as far as sports are concerned that mentioned ownership. But we know that Magic Johnson has the collateral to be able to say something like that, and I don't want to get inside RG3's pocket because he could have, he may have made some great investments to be able to do that. But I think it was more so a conversation.
Yeah. Robert's comment reminds me of your boy, right? Like you're at the bar and he's hanging out there and he's single and the waitress says hello to him. And that's the entire conversation. Right. And he's thinking he's got a chance, man. I got a shot with her. Oh, did you see what she said to me? And to me, it's like he called Josh Harris and they took his phone call and they had like a 4-minute conversation. And then he's thinking, oh man, I got a shot. Well, sorry, Robert, I don't think you do. And I don't think the other NFL owners want to have anything to do with him because he talks too much. He tweets too much. He TikToks too much. And if something were to come up that ownership doesn't like, that the other NFL owners don't like, even if he had 0.5% of ownership in the Commanders, he can't stop himself from making him the center of attention on everything. So he'll tweet about it and get himself in some hot mess.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy that I don't think it's official. We know that Magic is official. And last week, Bank of America received 2 bids for the Commanders. The first bid that came out was Josh Harris, Mitchell Rales, and Magic Johnson. The bid was nearly $6 billion. It's not quite $6 billion. It's been reported by different outlets that it's 6, but according to Front Office Sports, it's nearly $6 billion. For those that don't know, Harris also bid on the Broncos and ended up losing. But the good news on that is that means the NFL already did their due diligence into Harris's finances.
Yeah, he's been vetted.
He's been vetted by them.
Mhm.
And Magic Johnson was actually on the Today Show just this past Monday. I think it was Monday, talking about that bid. And this is what Magic had to say.
Oh my gosh.
And you got a lot going on. And what are we hearing about you buying the Commanders?
Oh, wait, what?
But Al went right to it.
Yeah.
Yes, our bid is in. We hope that we win. We don't know what's going to happen.
You always win.
That's it.
Magic always wins.
Oh, a lot of teams.
So now you just have to design some new uniforms.
Yes. So we'll see what happened with Mr. Snyder making that decision. But we're excited about it.
I mean, you own a lot of teams, but at NFL, I mean, that would.
Well, that's the last thing, right?
Yeah.
We have the Dodgers, we have the Sparks, have LAFC, soccer. We won the championship this season, so that was great.
Wow.
So we'll see what happens.
So I'm excited that Magic is out there publicly talking about this, because I would love it if he were a part of the ownership group. Same thing with Mitchell Rales. We've got some local guys here that know the area and what this town wants. And like Craig said, he's a winner. He wins at everything. But the second bid that they got was from Steve Apostolopoulos, the Canadian Greek guy that bid $6 billion, slightly higher than Harrison Rales. But the thing about that is Apostolopoulos, apparently, I don't know if he cares. To me, he's like that guy that's on Tinder, right? And he's just swiping right on every sports franchise he can buy, because he also put in a bid to buy the Ottawa Senators. He is one of at least 6 groups that are in the second phase of potentially purchasing them. And I also believe that he's trying to purchase the Charlotte Hornets. So,
Okay.
yeah, how does this guy have this much money? I don't know. That's why Front Office Sports is not taking his bids seriously, if you will, saying that Harris is the likely winner of it. But I mean, if the guy's got the kind of cash, then more power to him. It's just interesting that one is $6 billion, one is slightly less than that, but people are giving Harris kind of the leg up in that race. And then Charles Gasparino, aka Dan Snyder's burner account, is tweeting out there that Jeff Bezos, if you want to bid, it's okay. We'll let you bid. Dan's not mad at you. And obviously I'm paraphrasing, but he just put out an hour ago, Jeff Bezos eyeing the Commanders could make Dan Snyder the $6 billion man. And he's just been all over the place trying to entice Bezos to bid on the Commanders, in my opinion, for Dan. He's just Dan's mouthpiece. And he's actually tagging Jeff Bezos on Twitter, like Jeff is going to monitor and actually reply back to that. But it's curious what your thoughts are on all that.
Well, ultimately, like you said, the Harris Group, Magic Johnson, they're vetted. Excuse me, I butchered his name. The OPP, you down
Steve
with me?
Yeah.
Steve, so is he vetted as well because he's tried to purchase, or is he recently trying to purchase these other teams?
So Bank of America has got his fully funded bid, but the NFL has to go do their due diligence once Snyder accepts the bid.
Okay.
So that's what we're talking about, kind of the vetting process and everything else from there. I don't know if he's vetted. I know there have been questions about Apostolopoulos and where he's getting all the money from. So I haven't heard that he has been fully vetted in any of the articles or seen in any of the articles that I'm finding out there. So I don't know. And the bids that he's putting on the Ottawa Senators those are recent. That's not old.
Okay.
So I'm saying he's that guy on Tinder that's just swiping on any franchise he can buy.
Well, there's an old saying in the hood, it ain't tricking if you got it. So I'm not mad at him. If he can do it, get it done. If they approve it, so be it. Also, like with Bezos, do we really know? No, we don't know. And there's going to come a time, we're going to find out eventually. I mean, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. Will it be sold for the 6 billion, 6.5, 5.5, whatever it is that they're trying to reach here? I mean, we know it's not going to be 7. We know that. But if Bezos can do it, okay. If not if he can do it, does he want to do it? Let me say that, if he wants to do it, because we know he can do it.
Oh yeah, in a heartbeat. And
yeah, so that's why they're trying to say no, we never had a problem with that. We understand now that you don't write the articles, you're just an owner. I mean, and to me, Dan should know, him being an owner, how much did he write, or did he get someone to write for him? So that whole thing is just makes him look weak. You know,
it really does. He's begging.
Yeah, exactly. And so just let the chips fall where they may, man. And whoever you're going to be the highest paid team, anyway, our highest bought team. So who's ever got the money, man, at this point, you're already overseas on your yacht. Just sit back and relax and let it come in. That's how I feel about it. One thing that Magic said that I think that a lot of people might have blown out of proportion is when he said, was it Roker?
It was Al Roker. Yeah, it was Roker.
Roker said, well, and change uniform. And he kind of, yeah. No, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, one of the things that you want to gain a fan base or you want to lose a fan base, you change that burgundy and gold, you're going to lose this fan base. I mean, I know that I probably would not be a fan if you change from burgundy and gold to whatever. It just wouldn't happen. I can tell you that right now. We all have our breaking points, and that was one of my breaking points before. I said, you can name us the Washington Pixie Dust. I'm okay with it. Just don't change the colors. And I know that didn't go over well with a lot of people, but the name doesn't really bother me as much. Don't change my colors. If you're going to change something, don't change my colors. Don't do that. And as far as another rebrand is concerned, like I told you, man, I'm a fan, and ultimately what they're going to do is what they're going to do. Will they, how about this? If they did hypothetically do a rebrand, I would hope that they will learn from their mistakes of this past one and truly get fan input, or don't even say you want fan input and just shove it down our throat and be done with it. But don't ask us for our input and then you go totally way left. So hopefully you learn from your mistakes on a lot of issues that we've had. And I am willing, as well as I'm sure you're willing, to sit down with the new incoming crew so that we don't repeat these same mistakes.
I've been thinking about that all day today. And everyone's been yelling and screaming about, oh, Magic Johnson said that they're going to change it. They're going to rebrand it. It's like, no, people are just seeing stuff and not actually clicking or listening to the audio clips. Al Roker just asked him a quick question. And he said, yes, whatever it was on there. Jason, and granted, whoever buys the team can do whatever the hell they want to. But it comes down to, you still have to get permission from the NFL. And going through another rebrand at that point is going to be taxing on this fan base, on this town. Hey, if you don't like the Commanders, sorry, I really don't care. But that's our team. And if you're not a fan because that's the name, then to me, you're not a fan. It is what it is. That's just my opinion. That's not Rally's or anybody else's. But Jason Wright actually was asked about this, and Wright said he expressed skepticism that a new owner would look to rebrand the Commanders upon buying the franchise from owner Dan Snyder. The decision isn't ultimately up to him, but Wright said none of the groups that he has met have mentioned the possibility of changing the team's name and logo again.
Mhm.
This is from an article from the Washington Times. And this is a quote from Wright. No, because they're business folks, Wright told the Washington Times. They're thinking about how we can continue to grow attendance, how we can continue to drive up the value of the business, how we can invest in a championship. It's about winning a healthy business and a new venue. Those
Bingo.
are the big priorities.
Bingo.
He said,
And go ahead.
I would focus on the things that can fuel a championship, Wright said. I don't know if that's one of them.
If it is, it's way down the totem pole or way down the list. Here's the thing. And if I had to question Magic, I would say, so Magic, would you be okay with the Lakers going from purple and gold to blue and black? And he probably would say, hell no. Bingo. So that's not going to happen. Slow your roll. Everybody take a breath and relax.
Well, I think
Come on.
Al was talking more so about the uniforms, not the colors. It hasn't been brought up that they're going to change the colors. But for me, you know, I'll be distraught if we go through another rebrand. It's been way too many names in too short a time period. On top of the fact, you know, about the money that we've spent on gear, everything else. I actually got this shirt, Fight for Old DC. Doesn't say anything Commanders on it, but we all know what in the world it means. Because
definitely,
I'm hesitant at this point to buy Commanders gear. You know,
well, wait a minute, Ted. Wait, hold on, Ted. You mean to tell me that you don't get your stuff donated to you?
Yeah, no. I will tweet out. No, I won't tweet it out. But if people knew how much money I spent on that day where we were able to raid the team store,
right?
You pay for your gear, I pay for my gear. You know, I put a tweet out there because I'm filming a TV show next week, and I want to get some original Commanders gear that I wanted to rock for the show. Not knocking the stuff that the team has, but I just didn't want to buy some of that stuff from them anymore because I'm concerned about what's going to happen. And if the team is wondering if sales are down, well, you know why, because we're in ownership limbo again. And you got all this stuff that's happening. And to me, you've got the Red Wolves fan base that is still butthurt, that can't get over the fact that we're not the Red Wolves. And sorry, I don't think it's going to be the Red Wolves, even if they wanted to change it. But knowing that Jason Wright is saying this, and who knows if Jason's going to have a job after the fact, but I hope he will, they can come in here and just flip up the table and just do whatever the hell they want to do. But
clean house.
Best be sure the fan base is going to speak up in all aspects of it. One thing that the fan base agrees on for the most part is the fact that we want Dan out. We cannot agree on the name or what should happen with it or what it should be. We can't agree on the colors. I just hope that whoever comes in, we get a chance to actually, or they do their due diligence and research. They don't hire a company out of New York to rebrand a crest and get the dates wrong when you won the Super Bowl. They don't hire a company out of LA to design a wire mannequin of Sean Taylor and get that all screwed up. You know, it's just different stuff like that. And I feel that Magic just is competent because everything he touches turns to gold.
Yeah, he has his finger on the pulse, so to speak.
Yeah, he really does. And this is actually another clip from his interview with the Today Show with Craig Melvin.
A lifelong Washington football fan. Right. The prospect of Magic Johnson being a part owner of the football team that I've loved since Doug Williams was quarterback in the late 80s. What are our chances of you? Come on, you don't lose, Magic. You don't lose.
You know, Craig, to your point, you know, I've gotten a ring in every sport, but I need a Super Bowl ring. And I would love to be the owner of the Commanders, do not only great work on the field, but the work we could do with the city.
Yes.
And I think that if they bless us, Mr. Snyder blesses us with the opportunity to be an owner, it would be an emotional day for me.
Yeah.
And my father just died, so it would be a great moment for for the Johnson family, as well as Josh Harris, who is the lead partner in this, to take that franchise and take it to another level. So I'm excited about it. And another African-American owner.
Yes, that's it. You and MJ.
Sure.
So the question that I have is, and maybe it's a stupid question, but I was always told that there's no such thing as a stupid question. Why does Dan have to approve it? I understand it's his team, but if you've got the bid, so let's just say Apolopis' Steve L has 6.5 or 6.2, and the other group has 6.1. Why is it a situation? Why can't it be like eBay and whoever hawked in? And I always go back to that.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice on who you. But I understand it. But why though?
Because he owns it. It's his team. If I'm selling a car and someone wants to buy it, but then my friend comes in and says he'll buy it for less money, and he'll hook me up on the back end with something else later, or we'll maybe make a trade and do whatever. But if he just wants to give me less money because I know him or because I like him better, then it's completely up to me. It's not up to anybody else. Remember, we asked AJ Perez this, Bezos could publicly come out, and this was when Snyder, and it came out to, it didn't come out from Snyder, but it came out through other sources that Dan would not let Bezos buy the team. It's since been said by Charles Gasparino, aka Dan Snyder's mouthpiece, that, we're okay with Bezos coming in. But we asked AJ Perez on that episode, if Bezos were to bid higher and it came out publicly that he bid higher, the only thing stopping that from happening and Dan selling it to a lesser bidder is the other NFL owners. The other owners could say, no, we reject this bid for different reasons, but then Dan could come back and sue the NFL saying that they're not letting him sell the team for whatever reasons, and just all this other legal crap.
I got you. It just seems as though this could come down to something very petty or something very trivial, and that's what I don't like. Yeah, it just seems that way.
Were you listening to the Junkies today?
No, I was not.
So those of our listeners that don't know, the Sports Junkies institution here in DC, they're on every day for the past 25 years, I think. And during the Magic Johnson clip, he said something about, Mr. Snyder, and he was very respectful when talking about Dan and this and that. And I was just, you get taken aback by it because we can't stand him so much in this area. But Magic knows how to talk to the camera, especially on live TV, and watches every single word he's saying. So he is following his P's and Q's and making sure he is good while he's talking about this and isn't saying anything that could upset him, because ultimately it is Dan's decision on who he wants to accept a bid from. Bank of America is just collecting the bids. And whoever else wants to send some more stuff in there by the time the date is gone, by the time they actually want to close this thing out, then great. But they're just going to then give the bids to Dan and Tanya saying, here you go. These are fully vetted bids. These are fully funded bids. Which one do you want? A, B, C, or D?
And I would think that he would want to go with the highest bid and not supposedly a hookup.
I would think so too. And that's why I feel that Gasparino is basically begging Bezos to bid on the team. So it shoots the value up. And a lot of people are saying that the Harris group is worried. The Harris, Rails, Magic Johnson group is worried that Bezos is going to swoop in last minute, just like the Walmart group did for the Broncos when they try to do that. To me, it's almost like what some of the NFL teams are doing with Lamar Jackson right now. None of the teams are talking to Lamar because nobody wants to negotiate for the Ravens, because the Ravens have a chance to match with that transition tag and come in and say, you know what? Thank you for talking to him and dealing with him. We'll match that. Well, everyone's worried. We're going to drive this number up. what are we going to do? Is
Yeah.
Bezos going to come in, or are we just going to give a number? And to me, it's like you're bidding on a house, and you're going through, that bidder is going to take the highest amount of money he can at that point. But who knows? It's all still so up in the air. I just hope that it does truly end May 22nd at the next owners meetings, because I am just tired of all this getting dragged out in the speculation.
Yeah, man.
It would be great
Yeah.
for all of this to end. So to me, the next step is we get a new owner, and then we immediately talk to that new ownership group about, are you going to rebrand? What are you going to do? And we figure all that out, because after that,
Off the break. Yeah,
Yeah,
off the break.
right off
Get
the
it
break.
done. Yeah.
then after that, what do you want to do about a stadium? Where's it going to go? What's going to happen? Because those discussions need to start happening years ago. And after that, you got the football people still handling all the football stuff, but we bring in a new head coach. Because I'm sorry, Rivera ain't it for me. That's just me based upon his track record and the fact that he is roster building for the first time ever since he's been here for 4 years.
Cut the man some slack, man.
I can't.
Come on.
I can't do it. There's zero slack that he should be cut. And it was actually Michael Lombardi went on a tirade about why is everybody cutting Ron Rivera slack? I don't understand it. I don't get it. He's had 3 winning seasons in 12 years. He might be a good person, but a good person doesn't make you a good coach. And in my opinion, he is a bad coach and a horrible just roster management person. And hopefully he's gone, and so is Dan come 2024.
All right.
Fingers crossed.
Well, I hear the music in the background. This lets me know that we are coming to a close. And I want to correct you on something. You said one thing's for certain, but I'm going to say 2 things are for certain. All the fans want, yes, DS out, and they want the stadium to be at RFK. Those are 2 things that I think that all fans can agree upon. So that's going to do it for another episode of the DMV Mess Hall with Tailgate Ted and Rally Captain. And thank you guys once again for checking us out. Do us a favor. We can't emphasize this enough. Click like, subscribe, share it, and who knows, you might win a prize. Who knows? And always rep it hard or don't rep it at all. That's going to do it for this week's episode of the DMV Mess Hall.